Hello, my name is Ahnaf and welcome back to the React for Beginner series. In this video, I'm going to be talking about JSX and how you can insert JavaScript code inside your JSX to maybe run some code in a condition or maybe loop over something and then display some JSX, etc, etc. In the last video, we have discussed about how we can make a list and display to-do components. And also, I hope the perspective is now a bit better since I have the editor on my left side now and the browser on the right side. So now I don't have to minimize the editor and open up the browser. So I hope this is a bit better than before. So as I've said before in the first video, you can embed some JavaScript code inside JSX and you can just return some HTML or JSX code depending on a condition or something. So now, for example, we statically have everything hard-coded inside the component. But what if you want to loop over some items and then display those in a to-do form? Well, that is really easy. So in our to-do items component, the first thing we can do is create an array of items. So to-do items is going to be an array of maybe something like never mind, maybe something like clean your desk or tidy your room, then go to grocery store, and then maybe I could do like take some rest, maybe something like this. Now I have this array of few items, but I want to loop over and put all of these over here. So if I add something to this array, it will automatically display here. Now this is really easy. What we can do is we can embed some JavaScript code inside our JSX. So we can go to our unordered list. Inside here we could put two curly braces and then hit enter, and this is where you write your JavaScript code in JSX. So I could do something like to do items.map, and if you don't know, map is a function in JavaScript which basically loops over each item in the list and runs whatever function you tell it to run. So to do items.map, and the input we will take is the item, so each item, and then with this input we run a function, and now in this function I want to return an li element, so an entry in the list, which is the value of this item. So it will loop over each item, and item is the value of the item for that specific iteration. So to return some JSX in our map function, we can just do return and then just do something similar like this function, then li, and then let's make a p tag. So right now we won't use the to-do tag, to-do component, because it's hard-coded and we want to input some data over here. And for this we need props, but we'll discuss props later. So right now we're just using a paragraph tag. And since this is JSX, I cannot use this item. This would just display item over here. So for example, if I save this, you see it's just showing item, because here, item is considered as a text, since this is JSX. If you want to insert a JavaScript code, in this case it's a variable, so that counts as JavaScript code, you could do the same thing we did here, put curly braces, and put the JavaScript code or the variable over here. Now if you save this, see, it basically shows this. It shows clean your desk, tidy your room, take some rest. And now, if I use something like water your plants, if I save this, it automatically appears here. So that this is what's awesome with React. They can basically input some stuff in JSX, input some JavaScript code, and then just display that. Now we could also do something like we'd also make a paragraph tag, for example, number of items in to do and then just do items.length. So we're basically accessing the length of this array. So number of items in to do, and then we put some JavaScript code inside. So to do items.length. Save this. It shows number of items in to do equals to 5. If I do something like deploy the latest changes to code, it now shows the number of items in to do is 6, and then just displays this. So this is really like, this is something that's really awesome in JSX. Now let's talk about inline styling. Now, when you have normal HTML, you could just easily style some stuff with, for example, style, and then do text align center or something like that. But with React, you can't do that. So if I just do test, see, like, if you refresh this, it says style probably expects mapping from style. So for something like this, that expects a mapping or an object. So for this, we have to do double curly braces, okay, not single, double. And then let's just change the color. So color, and note that you don't use like quotation marks. You just like put the value, and React has specific values for everything. So let's do color is gonna be blue, and then if we save this, oh, never mind. You have to, like, if you want values, you have to like put it in quotation marks. Now if you save this, it changed that to blue. Now let's put a margin on the UL. So we could do something like style, and let's do margin left. So margin left 10 x. Let's put it in quotations. But you see, it's showing an error over here. If I save this, it's saying unexpected token dash. Now, as I've said before, anything in curly braces inside your JSX is considered as JavaScript, and in JavaScript, variable names cannot have like a dash. So instead of doing like margin dash left, you do margin left with capital L, since this is camel casing, and camel casing is like highly recommended in JavaScript. So if I save this, you see it has a margin now. If I make it 100 pixels, way over there. If I just make it 5 pixels, over here. So let's just remove this. And people will like, it's always recommended to use CSS styling like we did in app.js, which is imported to CSS. Always best to do CSS styling instead of inline styling in React. Then sometimes inline styling can be difficult, and sometimes it just won't work. And also one thing, I'm not sure if I have mentioned it before, but instead of using class, you have to use class name, because if you use something like class, it's not gonna work. So if I save this and refresh, see, it's not gonna like, it's not showing an error, but if you go to the console, it says invalid DOM property class. Did you mean class name? See, like, that's basically the thing. Class is a keyword specifically for like creating classes in JavaScript. So instead of using class, you do class name. And it's not going to show an error if you're using JavaScript, but if you're using TypeScript, it's going to show a lot of errors, and that's basically going to ruin your life. Let's just save this, and boom. So this is basically how JSX works. It's really simple, and basically this is all you need to know. One thing I forgot to mention is conditional statements. So let's do something like this over here, and we could do something like this. So number of items is, and we want to check if it's odd or even. So we could do something like, to do items dot length and modulus 2, and if it's equal to 1, in that case we're going to return some text here. In that case, so if you don't understand what I'm doing here, basically this is how you find an odd number in programming. Basically you just take the number, so in this case it's the length, the number of items in the array, and like try to find the remainder. So modulus 2, and it divides it by 2 and returns the remainder. And if the remainder is equals to 1, that means it's odd. since it's not perfectly divisible by 2. But if it returns 0 or something else, like in most cases it's going to be 0 if you're just trying to divide something by 2. So if it returns a 0, that means it's even. So this is how you write a ternary statement in JavaScript. Ternary is basically inline if statements. So this is the condition, and if it's true, you put a question mark, and this is what it's going to execute when it's true. So I want to return odd. Since the reminder is going to be equal to 1, that means it's odd. And now you put colon to do anything you want if it's false. So if the condition is false. So let me go over it again. So this is the condition. Okay, this is the condition. And you put a question mark, and this is the code that will be executed when it's true. And right now it's not code, I'm just basically returning some strings here. Okay, I'm not executing code, I'm just returning some strings here, like for this. And if it's false, you put a colon, and then just do whatever you want if the code is false. So if I save this, it shows that number of items is even. Now if I go over here, and if I remove hide your room, because nobody does that, if I save this, it's showing number of items is odd, because number of items is 5, and 5 by 2 is equals to like 2.5, which is not an integer. So that's why it says odd. So this is basically everything you need to know about JSX, and it's really simple. JSX is like at the core of React, and it really makes it easy for you to develop like front-end applications and user interfaces really easily. So I hope this video was helpful, and if you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video, and I'll see you all in the next video.